The grid went down 3 weeks ago. Nobody announced it. Nobody explained it. The lights just stopped. And with them, the heat. Now it's the middle of winter, and your apartment is no longer a home. It's a box. A concrete box that pulls warmth out of your body every single minute you sit inside it. Most people in this situation did what untrained people always do. They waited. They assumed someone would fix it. They burned through their body heat like amateurs, burning through their last reserves, doing nothing, understanding nothing, surviving on luck alone. Luck runs out. Cold doesn't negotiate. It doesn't care about your plans, your savings, or how many blankets you threw on the bed. Core body temperature drops below a certain threshold, and your body starts shutting down systems one by one. First fine motor control, then judgment, then consciousness. You don't get a warning. What you get is this list: 6 items, dirt cheap, available right now before everything goes sideways. Each one is a tactical layer in your personal heat defense system. Learn them, stack them. Because when the temperature inside your apartment hits the same number as outside, the only thing standing between you and a very permanent outcome is whether you prepared or whether you waited. Chemical hand warmers, small, cheap, underestimated by everyone who has never needed them. Here's what they actually are. Each packet contains iron powder, salt, activated carbon, vermiculite, and water. The moment you open the packaging and expose the contents to air, oxidation begins. Iron reacts with oxygen. That reaction is exothermic. It releases heat. Not a lot of heat per second, but steady, controlled, reliable heat for anywhere between 8 and 12 hours depending on the product. That's the point, not intensity, duration. Now here's how you use them correctly, because most people waste half the output through pure ignorance. Don't hold them in your hands and call it a day. Your hands are not the priority. Your core is. Place one warmer against the femoral artery on the inner thigh. Place another at the base of your neck, against the back of the collar. These are high-flow vascular zones. Blood passes through them constantly, picks up the heat, and carries it directly into your circulatory system. You are using the body's own infrastructure to distribute warmth from a single source. 1 packet per zone, 2 zones covered. Your core temperature stabilizes. Keep unused packets sealed in their original airtight packaging until the moment you need them. Oxygen exposure starts the reaction. Open one early, and you've just burned through 8 hours of heat for nothing. Stock them in bulk. They weigh nothing. They cost almost nothing. And in a frozen apartment at 3 a.m., they are worth considerably more than their price tag suggests. That's your first layer. Now add the second. Stop trying to heat the apartment. You can't. The apartment is gone. It belongs to the cold now. What you can heat is a space the size of your body, plus 6 inches in every direction. This is the heat trap principle. Take your sleeping bag or your thickest blanket and build a cocoon. Get inside. Pull it tight. Your body produces approximately 80 watts of thermal energy at rest, the same output as a light bulb. In open air, that heat disperses instantly. Inside a sealed cocoon, it accumulates. The temperature inside rises within minutes. Small space, contained heat. That's the entire strategy.
Next item. This one reflects. Emergency Mylar Blanket. Costs less than a cup of coffee. Looks like something you'd wrap leftovers in. Performs like engineered survival equipment, because that's exactly what it is. Here's the science. Your body loses heat through 4 mechanisms: conduction, convection, evaporation, and radiation. In a cold, still apartment, radiation accounts for roughly 40 to 60% of total heat loss. Your body is constantly emitting infrared radiation outward into the environment. That energy leaves you and heats the walls. The walls don't care. You do. Mylar is vapor-deposited aluminum on a polyester film. That metallic surface reflects up to 90% of radiated infrared energy back towards its source, which is you. Wrap it around yourself correctly, and you've just plugged the single largest leak in your thermal system. Correctly means something specific here. Shiny side faces inward, towards your body, not outward, inward. This is the mistake that turns a survival tool into an expensive piece of garbage. The reflective surface needs a target, and that target is you. Second rule, don't seal it completely airtight. You are still producing moisture through respiration and skin. Trap all of it and you get condensation buildup against your skin. Wet skin loses heat 25 times faster than dry skin. Leave a controlled gap at the top. Manage the moisture, keep the heat. 1 blanket, fold it flat, fits in a jacket pocket. Buy several. Store them everywhere. Heat source. You need an active one. A single candle produces approximately 80 watts of heat, the same output as a resting human body. That number sounds modest until you understand how to weaponize it. The mistake everyone makes is lighting a candle in the middle of a room and expecting to feel warmer. You won't. The room is too large, the heat disperses too fast, and you've accomplished nothing except burning wax. The room doesn't need heating, you established that already. What needs heating is your zone, the small contained space where you exist. Here's the protocol. Take the smallest room in your apartment, bathroom, walk-in closet, a corner sectioned off with hanging blankets. The smaller the volume, the faster heat accumulates and the less energy you need to maintain it. Place 2 or 3 long-burn candles. These are specifically formulated with higher density wax, typically paraffin or beeswax blends, designed for burn times of 80 to 140 hours inside that space. Let them run. In a sealed space of roughly 35 to 50 cubic feet, 3 candles will raise the ambient temperature by 10 to 15 degrees Fahrenheit within an hour. That's not a campfire. That's a controlled thermal upgrade to your immediate environment. Never leave open flame unattended. Keep candles away from fabric. Place them on a non-flammable surface. Crack the door slightly for minimal airflow. Full oxygen deprivation degrades the burn and fills the space with combustion byproducts you don't want to breathe. Long burn candles. Cheap, effective. Treat them like the tactical asset they are.
Now seal the heat inside your body. Your clothing is not keeping you warm. It never was. Clothing doesn't generate heat. Your body does. What clothing does, when chosen correctly, is prevent that heat from escaping. Get this wrong and every other item on this list underperforms. Get it right and your body becomes its own furnace. The base layer is where it starts. This is the garment in direct contact with your skin, and it is the single most critical variable in your thermal system. Most people default to cotton. Cotton feels comfortable. Cotton is also a liability. It absorbs moisture, sweat, condensation, ambient humidity, and holds it against your skin. Wet cotton loses up to 90% of its insulating value. You are wearing a cold compress. The replacement is synthetic or merino wool. Polyester-based layers wick moisture away from the skin surface, transferring it outward where it can evaporate safely. Merino wool does the same while remaining insulating even when partially wet. Either option keeps the microclimate between fabric and skin dry and warm. Layering logic is simple. Base layer wicks, mid-layer insulates, fleece, down, or a thick wool sweater. Each layer traps a pocket of air. Air is one of the worst conductors of heat known to physics. Trapped air, dry skin, body heat directed inward instead of bleeding into a cold room. Thermal base layers cost almost nothing. One set, top and bottom. Buy it before you need it. Now attack the apartment itself. Your windows are not walls, they are holes. A standard single-pane window has an insulation value approximately 10 times lower than the surrounding wall, and it's not just radiation, it's convection. Cold air pooling against the glass drops in temperature, becomes denser, and falls, pulling a continuous current of frigid air along your floor. You feel it as a draft. What it actually is your heat budget being systematically drained. 2 items fix this, combined cost under $10. First, insulating window film, a thin polyethylene sheet applied over the window frame with double-sided tape, shrunk tight with a hairdryer. It creates a sealed dead airspace between itself and the glass, cutting convective heat loss through the window by up to 35%. 20 minutes per window, no tools beyond scissors and a hairdryer. Second, draft tape. Apply it around the full perimeter of every window frame and exterior door. A gap of 1/8 of an inch running the length of a window frame allows the same cold air intrusion as leaving that window open for several minutes every hour. Silent, invisible, relentless. Seal the film, tape the frames. You've just converted your biggest thermal liability into a defensible position. 6 items, that's the entire list. Chemical hand warmers targeting your vascular system, a heat trap built from what you already own, a Mylar blanket reflecting your own energy back at you, long burn candles transforming a small space into a survivable thermal zone, a base layer keeping your body's output where it belongs, window film and draft tape eliminating the primary vector of heat loss in your environment. None of this requires power. None of this requires infrastructure. Every item costs less than a single restaurant meal and stores indefinitely until the moment you need it. The cold doesn't distinguish between the prepared and the unprepared. The outcome does. You now know what to buy. You now know how to use it. The only variable left is whether you act on this before the temperature decides for you.